Hey guys, it's Turock, and today we got the next chapter of One Piece. And I don't need to tell you this, but if you've read it already, but this one is a doozy. This is the one we've been waiting for in two folds now, with one being the post Wano. We get post Wano bounties for all the other Straw Hat crews. I can't wait to watch Tekking's video after this, if it's up yet. Because he's going to probably explode. He's going to probably blow up his camera. He's going to and combust. What's that term where you blow up and without any sort of external factor. And two, just working, yeah, right there. Two, after this reveal about the Cross Guild, the creation of Cross Guild, where Buggy being proclaimed emperor a couple chapters back, and then finding out that Mihawk and Crocodile with him, we get the information we needed to explain this stuff and a little bit more tidbits. This is great. And I think we're getting a break after the next chapter, so Oda left us just enough that all the chat rooms and stuff like that are probably going to are exploding already, because this chapter leaked yesterday. It's always like Thursday. I'm recording this on Friday this time. I have a couple times now. I was trying to get these videos out on Thursday when the chapter releases early, because I like to just get it out as soon as possible, get it kind of done with, and I guess I'm trying to get it out ahead of the curve, even though I'm like not the ones people are coming to watch, but I like to do that. But yeah, the chat rooms and Discord, like Discord and Reddit boards, are probably on fire right now with learning some of the stuff we will see today. So let's just get started. I got the chapter up here, pulling it up again, and so we start out. We're starting out with something here. I want to bring up something about one thing that bugs me a bit when I read manga or watch anime. So we have a scene here where Luffy is in a cage on the ship, and apparently he's done another very dumb thing. There's actually two parts to this little bit. So Luffy, as a character, I love him when he's in the heat of battle, and he has this inspirational stuff. But when he does dumb things, at his age, like if it was realistically, and I know this is like not, so the caveat here, I think I just don't understand humor the way the Japanese typically do stuff, especially like this, where the character does something dumb constantly throughout a series. I get fed up with it personally after a while. So Luffy's apparently done something again, and when that happens, it's Nami who takes it to him, to try to correct him, to try to stop him, and to punish him. And my other caveat is I think the punishment usually go too far, and it just kind of frustrates me that she does this and that no one stops her. I guess the humor, I guess, is supposed to be, there's again supposed to be some kind here, but it doesn't. It kind of just annoys me for some reason. Like I have nothing against Nami except the fact that she's like this too. She just seems like it seems like a trope where she's very hot-headed and she's very greedy, and those two things just, like, I don't know. There's a lack of balance there. Like she just, I don't get it. I know she's greedy. She's a cat burglar, and she was looking for money. It's like she was looking for money though, because she was trying to pay off Arlong so she could free her village. But now she's just always wanting. She's just, and then there's this. Like I get this context when it happens here. Luffy must have done something really stupid this time, because I do remember one time when she socked him good back at Water 7, and I was all for it, because Luffy is a blabbermouth of sorts when at certain times when he should refrain, and he should learn some to be, there's a word where he's like learns to just not reveal his hand, you could say. So at that point, to examine that quickly, they came from Skypiea with a lot of gold, and they knew the Going Merry wasn't going to cut it anymore for traveling the Grand Line, and they wanted the Water 7's the place to make the best ships in the world, in the One Piece world, and so they wanted to commission some people to make them a new ship, and Luffy's blabbing too much about them having a lot of money, and Nami socked him one, if I remember correctly, and I'm like, fine, yeah, Nami, when he does that shit, do that. And it looks like that is what happened here, but it just looks like too much when she's like caging him and beating the shit out of him a little too much. 'Cause especially, like it's not gonna work. Luffy never changes. This is the other half. Luffy and characters like Luffy never change, no matter how much they get this beat down, I guess, by someone else, and they just do stupid stuff again. Luffy is growing into a great leader in many respects. Oda's going for this very inspirational leader. I love that part, and he's very good in battle. But they balance it or offset it with his dumb being immature is what I'm looking for. Immature in other ways and just doing dumb things at very he does things without thinking about it. I can't think of that right word. And I see this time again with these characters where they're just hot-headed or they're immature. They don't think and they just do. And then it's just a trope where the character's like, oh, you'll never change. And it persists across the series. And that bit of I guess a lack of character growth is one of the things about manga and anime that get under my collar, get me hot around the collar, that they won't show them change that way a little bit. I guess I've just read too many novels, like fantasy novels and other all sorts of literature, thrillers and novels and mystery stuff. I've read lots of those even before I got into manga. And so my expectations of what kind of character growth a character have is kind of skewed away from what it seems manga and anime likes to do. They go all in great usually with a character growing in ways where they inspire people or they're cool as hell, but then they'll have these offsetting tropes or lack of character development like this. And the other thing is Nami's doing this stuff to Luffy doesn't bother me as much as when I see something similar to this in like harem animes where the character they love to have like the male character and the lead walking upon a female character who's in the bath, they're undressing, and then every time the guy gets socked in the head when it's usually this is with the main character, of course, an accident, and she always does it. She or the other female characters always sock the guy, and they say I'm sorry, and they like I didn't mean to do it, but it happens over and over again, which ties into the humor stuff that I after the first few times, even when I was like a teenager, I just didn't care for that. Like, just stop. And I don't know. And like, yeah, when they do that over and over again, it just doesn't entertain me. I just want them the character, if the female characters are going to say I'm sorry, like, mean it and stop reacting like that. It's not the end of the world if he walked in, assess the situation. Anyways, I'm done with this tangent. I'm sorry. I had to get off my chest because I see this stuff in here and it boils my blood for some reason. I'm done. So we have here, Nami. You have Nami here. She's like, Frankie warns Nami to Frankie here warns Jinbei because he's like, hey, please calm down, Nami. And Frankie's like, no, when she gets like this, don't get in her way. And that's a good point, but someone's got to tell her to calm down a little bit. Especially if Luffy's going to keep doing this. I don't know. It's almost like Nami should just be the captain at this point. Because Luffy's clearly only great at being inspirational. Oh, look at Zoro's sleeping in the background. I missed that. That's cute. Zoro's Zoro too is, by the way, probably my favorite character here. Him, or Jinbei too, and Frankie. Zoro because he just like he takes it really easy and tries to relax, but he's very stoic. He's very and then he likes. I'm thinking of him now because he takes a lot of naps, and I have to do that personally too. And no matter how much caffeine I drink, I'm still like tired by the middle of the day. Speaking of which, I need to sit now. So now we get the bounty part. This is the first good part. The bounties come first. And I had to pull up the bounties because I was trying to see how much they gain. And most of the bounties are great and feel very representative of what they should be. Although one I thought should be a little higher. So first we start with Chopper. And Chopper's bounty has only gone up to 1,000 berries, right? So I'm looking here. It tells you it went up 900 berry increase. It actually tells you the increase there. The other ones, they don't tell you what the increase is. So I pulled up a web page here to check. Because I don't think they've shown the others' bounties increase. The other crew increased since Dressrosa, if I remember correctly. I know Luffy's jumped after Topland after he escaped and defeated Katakuri. So next we have Nami's, and hers went up in an impressive amount too, to 366 million berries. And she says a neat line here where she'd even go after someone with this bounty, which makes me think I wonder if she would have ever had considered being a bounty hunter herself. Which would be something interesting that I noticed others have talked about, where we haven't really studied ever since, I guess, like we knew Zoro was a bounty hunter in East Blue and he had his other two friends. We haven't encountered any other characters that are top tier bounty hunters that would go after hundreds of million berry bounties. Nonetheless, like Yonko, who have billions of berries. It's like we don't know of any other bounty hunters out there, and I feel like it's a bit of a missed opportunity to see a top tier kind of guy who can go toe to toe with them. Anyways, so Nami's bounty before. Let me check here. No, we gotta go back. Nami's looks like it was 66 million last. Yeah, so she's gone up 300 million. If I got this, I know this page has not updated. This is a wiki page and it has not updated the other bounties except for Luffy's from a few weeks ago. So I'm pretty sure this is accurate. So Nami's gone up 300 million. She's really good for her. Yeah. And then next we got Brooks. And his is 383 million, which again I think is also a pretty good increase. Let me check. Brooks was 83 million. Yeah, so So his is also going up 300 million. So we're going across a similar thing here. So his is going up 300 million as well. I personally think his should be even higher, despite the fact that he's not physically as strong as Sanji or Zoro. He is definitely in combat equally skilled as them. So a little disappointed on that one. I guess maybe he has to make a better name for himself. I mean, once he defeats one like Blackbeard's commanders or something, I'm sure he'll go into the billions easily. So next, what do they show next? Frankie, his is 394 million. Frankly, I think his should be higher too, because he is the son of the Tom the shipwright, who's famous for creating Gold Roger's main ship. I can't think of the name now. Okay, and his is also going up 300 million even. So Tsunami, Brooke, Frankie, 300 million even. And I think Usopp's also goes exactly 300 million. I did not remember this, but it looks like Sanji had a really high bounty after Dressrosa, didn't he? Where was it? No. I just saw it. No, they're going by a list of importance here, kind of. Usopp, yeah. So Yeah, so Usopp's has gone up 300 million as well, but his was at 200 million after Dressrosa. Very impressive. Very impressive. He's the highest. So the Navy Marines are definitely recognizing him as a threat. That's interesting. So his has gone up to 500 million even now. By the way, the reactions, I forgot. Brooke is excited that his bounty has gone up that amount. And Frankie is pissed. But that's because what we see here is that his face isn't even a picture on the wanted poster. They show all the wanted posters here. But Frankie's wanted poster just shows up the front of a Sunny. So he's not admittedly, he's angry with good reason. And Usopp's, he's freaking out at how high he is because he doesn't want it to get any higher because he's a guy who doesn't want to. Frankie is great at stepping up. Frankie. Usopp, when push comes to shove, does the right stuff and fights honorably and with great courage, but it takes a lot to push him into that. He initially acts like a very scared individual, but so he's just freaking out, obviously, and his eyes are popping out of his eyes so far that's not natural. It looks worse than, he looks like one of those Denden mushy things almost, where his eyes are just like, it's just silly looking. Now we get to one that I thought should have been higher too. The main one, Nico's is next, and she has jumped up to 930 million. And frankly, given that she is probably the most dangerous person in the world, along with like Luffy and Dragon, I thought hers, I really think that hers should be, they should be prioritizing like putting her bounty really high with like Luffy's in some ways, just because she's so dangerous to what the world government, what they're trying to hide that we don't know about, but we know she's dangerous because she understands stuff about what happened in the past. Hold on. Now we get to some really high ones here. So we got Zoro has achieved a 100. What is that? Wait a minute, these numbers look off. Because Zoro, I'm confused here because Sanji's really pissed. I thought his bounty was lower than Zoro's. I gotta double check this later. So Zoro's looks like it's 100. No. It is actually, right. No, I got it wrong because the one's wrong. So Zoro's is 1,100,000,100 berries. Very interesting. Lots of ones in there. I bet there's a meaning to that, and I bet Tekking will have the answer on that. I'll check that out later. Jinbei's is 1,100,000,000 even, and Sanji's is 32 million even. And Sanji just is upset with this. He thinks he should he thinks he should be the second highest bounty after Luffy's. So he's pissed at both. He's extremely mad because he's underneath Zoro again. Let me check. So Zoro, I think he was lower than Zoro's before, and this has been almost like a running gag now, where he 330 million, and Zoro had 320. Wait. Zoro's bounty looks like it was higher than Zoro's before. Is that wrong? I'll check it out later and address that. So, I don't know, this bounty looks adequate to me. Look good because Jinbei is, someone who's been a known quantity to the world government for a much longer time. He had like a 430 million or so bounty even before, like 2 years ago, before he joined the warlords a few years ago. 438 looks like it was his last bounty. 438 after leaving the warlords and after the helping Luffy and Whitebeard at Marineford. So he had a much higher bounty at the time than anyone else. He was higher than all the other Straw Hats at the time. So him having the third highest bounty is adequate because he's just such a well-known quantity. Even though he's not, so Luffy's is much higher because he defeated a Yonko, but almost makes me think Jinbei should be much higher too. But it's adequate. It's good. It shows they know he's dangerous. I think his will go significantly higher at some point. So I think that's everything with the bounty stuff. Yep. And last we have Sanji and Zoro going at it again. They just can't get along. There's another thing. Those two squabbling all the time that much just is a little annoying to me because it's like, you guys need to start growing up. And I feel like they're never going to. This is probably going to be something over and over where they just call each other Moss Head and whatever Sanji gets called by him. But that's it with the bounties. So now, this is the real good stuff now. The bounties were just the appetizer of this chapter. Now we're finding out about the Cross Guild, and we get a lot of stuff here. So on his island, actually I can't read some of this. I'm going to transfer this over a second to my other page. I don't have my tablet with me today, so I'm reading it on my... So, what happens here first is, looks like Crocodile and Mihawk are pissed that Buggy has gained the position in the eyes of the public and Marines as the head of the Cross Guild. And Buggy, being Buggy, he knows his true place on the food chain of people in the world is begging for his life constantly here. And it seems to me too most of his crew members so except for his closest crew members, I don't think they realize the true dynamic here and probably just assume that these guys have joined Buggy because he's such a inspirational figure. They see Buggy, those other people that escaped Marineford see Buggy as the kind of figure other people truly understand Luffy to be. And Buggy, when he's around those kind of people, he's good at like playing it up and putting on an act, against these against those kind of people who are just not able to see through that. And it looks like Crocodile and Mihawk are considering killing Buggy, though I don't know how Mihawk's planning to do. Oh, if he uses Haki, I guess he could cut up Buggy probably and finish the job. So, oh yeah, and then Mr. 3, Galdino is here, and he's happy to be working with Crocodile again. Although I don't think he really should, because if I remember correctly, Crocodile tried to have him killed for his fail. Because Crocodile, when he ran his other organization, Baroque Works, he didn't allow for failure, and he had those two other officers, the two animals. One was like a vulture, and I forget what the other was. They would watch the other high-ranking officers and make sure they succeeded, and if not, they reported to him any failure. And Mr. 3 was almost eaten by one of those big actual giant crocodiles that Sir Crocodile owned and kept in his aquarium at his main base of operations. And when Buggy here is pissed off that Mr. 3 has no loyalty to him, and Mr. 3 counters like, I never actually was part of your crew. So, I agree. If I was Mr. 3, I would work with Buggy too. I guess if I was, thought it could be to my advantage, but I'm not going to take orders from him. It's bullshit. It's so obvious. I think Mr. 3's smart enough for that. Mr. 3's an alright character. I mean, he tried to kill him back at Little Garden, but he's clever. He's not an idiot. He's not like Buggy. So, and then we have the priest. Oh, great. Hold on. Hang on. Alright. I'm back. I had to take a phone call. So, we're back here with, we see Buggy's crew members, and the main ones, the guy, the lion, the guy with the suit, And there's what's her name? I forgot her name. And Mr. One's over there too in the corner. Buggy's crew members are like, oh, this is the end of Buggy. What do we do? And so they're saying, oh, we'll follow Crocodile if Buggy's killed. So they're already ready to like jump ship if things need to. Like, so what's her name? She says like it's a cold, harsh world out there. We gotta survive, basically. And now we get a bit of a flashback of how Crocodile and Mihawk came together. So this must have been shortly after the warlords have been abolished. There's several marine ships at Mihawk's island, and it looks like this is not the first wave of them, because Mihawk is telling Crocodile's there talking to Mihawk through Addenda and Mushi, right? Yep, through Addenda and Mushi, and Mihawk's explaining how this has been really annoying with all these Marines coming there constantly, which really actually just speaks something that I would think the Marines, if they would know better than just to send regular the rank and file and maybe even vice admirals. I would think they'd know better than to try and send them after Mihawk. Like, I know you guys are focused on like the Yonko situation, but Mihawk, for all intents and purposes, seems to have relative strength to the Yonko. So why you would waste so much manpower on sending rank and file and other officers after Mihawk just seems like such a waste of life here. But they're doing it, and Mihawk's been fending them off, and he tells Crocodile. Crocodile comes in and is just trying to, chatting with Mihawk at first, saying, "Oh, you've lost your perks, huh?" And he's like, and Mihawk's like, "Yeah, but I'm just gonna relocate because this is really annoying." So Mihawk here, Crocodile though proposes their two of us working together, and then the Marines would leave us alone, or at least not take us lightly. And here we get some interesting information though, in that the Mihawk used to be known as a Marine Hunter, which I find this bit very interesting. It's something, this is interesting in and of itself, because now we know it looks like Mihawk. I'm thinking that what this means is that Mihawk, he's always been seeking a challenge. He used to fight Shanks, for example, until Shanks lost his arm. So maybe he was seeking out Marines. Well, there could be other things too, but maybe he was seeking out Marines for a worthy challenge. If many of them wield swords, as it looks like some do, who aren't like special devil fruit users or that sort of thing. But also I'm wondering if like he just didn't like Marines, and maybe there's some other vendetta there. That just came to my mind. Maybe we'll find out much more about that in the future. But actually, this is also, last thing is, this was always interesting to me. Mihawk, to me, never seemed like a proper pirate. At this point in his story, it really seems like anyone who sails the seas and is somehow gained the ire of the Marines gets called a pirate, much like Luffy is. Luffy is obviously not a pirate. He's more of an adventurer. He likes the name pirate because Shanks was called a pirate too. And maybe Shanks was actually doing some pirating things. But Luffy certainly hasn't. He's not doing any pillaging and burning and killing of people. And the only treasure he gained so far was the left in these ancient ruins that practically no one in the world knows about except the Skypians. So he's not really a pirate in the true sense of the word. Oh, here we go again. Let's see. Alright, so where was I? Yeah, so Mihawk was known as Marine Hunter. They used to refer you as Marine Hunter, Crocodile says here. So, and so Crocodile tries to appeal to Mihawk by next saying, "You and I are the same, and we don't trust anyone." And we leave off the flashback at that. So it looks like something here convinced Mihawk. I think more likely based on reading this, that Mihawk is simply looking for some other way to be left alone by the Marines, especially. So he must have really caused some trouble in his youth. They have so many Marines being sent after him, basically as cannon fodder, as the phrase goes, and that now it makes a lot of sense too. Why they would get him into the. Oh no, actually that wouldn't. Why? If Mihawk was hunting Marines, I was gonna say he was for. They invited him to the warlords because he would be. Say he'd leave them alone, but if he was hunting them, he was obviously having some sort of agenda or maybe a vendetta or some reason. I'm thinking more likely what I said a little bit ago about looking for a good challenge. Something there they must have. Perhaps they were just sending too many Marines after him after he caused trouble by hunting other Marines, and they started sending so many after him, as they are doing again now, that he got fed up with looking for that challenge, and just took on the Marine, the warlord title, to be left alone after that, because he was getting to a point. I would say I kind of could understand that. Like maybe if I could see myself feeling like if I was him and I had his whatever reason he'd want to go after them at my age, which I am 34 now, I would probably feel like I could be fed up with being chased around by them, and maybe at some. I don't know if they told us when Mihawk joined the warlords, but we know I think he's about 46 or so now, or is he 48 after the time skip? Something in that range. So I could understand. I think being hunting, causing so much trouble that eventually you want to be left alone. That you realize that you gain too much of a following of notoriety, gain too much notoriety that you fed up with it, and he would join the warlord system to be left alone by the Marines and maybe seek challenges elsewhere. But anyways, we go back to the present, and he stares at Buggy for a second, and now we do a separate flashback with Buggy. This must have been right after the Marines were coming to come after him and arrest him. And then he gets reports from his crew that they're being attacked from the other side. And this must have been, no. This is when Crocodile comes. Crocodile is attacking the Marine ships and taking them out, him and Mr. One. Is there someone else in the background there? I can't see what that is. And the crew members of Buggy misunderstand this, and so they know. So they say that Buggy. They assume that Crocodile was working under Buggy at this juncture. Before this is before Cross Guild is actually formed, and they think Buggy was Crocodile was so inspired. Crocodile was so inspired by Buggy that he's coming to save him. But we actually find out here, what happened here is that Buggy is freaked out here because he's thinking to himself, so he owes money actually to Crocodile. So Crocodile must have maybe loaned him money to start his little delivery business he's been doing for the past 2 years, and now he must not be making he must not have been making enough profit to repay that loan. And then he's freaked out because he's more afraid of Crocodile than he is of the Marines. Just getting a text. So, Crocodile comes to the island, confronts Buggy, and says, "Oh, you haven't even left yet." So he reveals him what was going on. Buggy's thinking more. He's talking here. So he had too many. It looks like he had too many employees actually under his and his crew and his employees, and he couldn't feed them all, especially all the giant. Oh no! And then the giants. He had giants under his employ, and if I remember correctly, there was the one or two of them that were captured at Dressrosa and were in the Coliseum, and now they quit and joined Luffy, right? I think that's the ones where he's talking about how they just quit. And it looks like here Crocodile says, so Crocodile says to Buggy, if you don't have any money back I owe you, I'm just going to sell you into slavery. Where would you sell? Oh, maybe sell him to the... I was just thinking about slavery stuff. Where would he do that in the One Piece world? So probably like that place, maybe a place similar to that one that was on Sabaody where Rayleigh was. And Buggy tries to say like, hey, we're friends, right? Don't be like that. But Crocodile isn't having it because he's like, I did you a solid by lending you that money. You have to pay it back. And because this is where he's planning on forming his own company again, and he needs money now. So he must have loaned Buggy a lot of money of whatever he had left, hoping Buggy's warlord position would help him gain it back. Anyways, it looked like that was a bad bet in that way, but So he's like, no, why not just work with me? Sorry, I was rereading this. I read this earlier, but I'm trying to just make sure I follow all this. He's like, yeah, let's work together. I got all these people working under me, advertisers and carriers and all this stuff. And so he must have agreed to do that. So we don't really know where Mihawk stepped in. No, was Mihawk with Crocodile there? No. So I don't know where no, that's right, because Crocodile... So there's a timeline here that we're not fully aware of. I'm wondering if Crocodile went to Mihawk before he came here to Buggy's Island to collect the loan. I'm not sure on that. Maybe he did it afterward because he wanted to have a little more... He thought he could get... That's probably it. I'm assuming the timeline is Crocodile is planning on making this new organization. He loaned money to Buggy previously, I'm guessing about 2 years ago. He's coming here to collect now because he's got the idea for Cross Guild, or maybe that the name wasn't his, but he has the idea for it. Hey there, Turock, post other recording videos, Turock here. I realized after I didn't realize myself, I went to Tekking's video right after recording the other stuff you're going to be watching before this and after, and saw that I missed the chapter website I read is missing a couple pages. So what we find out here, we also find out in this chapter the bounties of Crocodile and Mihawk, which now I'm just that website missed those pages, so I'll probably avoid using that one much in the future. So what happens here is right after Crocodile comes to Buggy to collect the loan, he also, first of all, Crocodile also says, why was this poster put out like this, the one we saw earlier? And apparently it was Buggy's crew members that created it and put it out there. So this must be going back to the present, right? So Crocodile's probably yelling, well, we just see earlier him and Mihawk are pissed off at a Buggy that right before Mihawk says, oh, let's leave it this way. Crocodile's grilling him for that poster being that way. So, and then we go here and, yeah, we see a little flashback of when Buggy's men made the poster. And now we switch to Navy HQ where we got, what's his name? The guy with showing us the bounties in the past. And he's talking about Buggy's, Buggy's bounty here is updated as well, I should say. So 3 new bounties I missed. And so we found out Crocodile's bounty is 1,965,000,000. Very impressive. Last we knew he had an 81 million bounty, and that was frozen. That was over like 10 years ago probably. And so they've decided he's... I wonder if this is partially because he's in the Cross Guild now. If it would be a little less. Not sure. He was a threat for a long time. So, oh. And the one I really was happy to see here, because I wanted to know for a long time what it was, is Mihawk's. And his is 3,900,000,000 590 million. So at that point, this puts him as far as current bounties as the second highest current bounty. Well, fourth, I guess, if Big Mom and Kaido are still alive. After Shanks, Mihawk has the next highest bounty that we are aware of. And with Crocodiles, that just puts him right behind. And then lastly, we get, first I'll say Buggy's, we find out is 3,189,000,000. So he is actually ahead of Luffy right now in the bounty. So we had Kaido and Big Mom and Shanks, and now Mihawk, and now Buggy, and we got Kid, Law, and Luffy all at even 3 billion, and then Crocodile. No, actually, then there's Blackbeard, and then Crocodile. So Crocodile is that like the top 10 really? We got like Roger and Whitebeard, and then we Kaido, Big Mom, Shanks, Mihawk, Buggy, Luffy, Kid, Law. No, actually, he's just out of it. Actually, that puts if you take out the deceased, that does put him like near the top 10. So very impressive bounties, and now we know how dangerous Mihawk really is. If he wanted to be like a Yonko, I'm sure his bounty would shoot up very easily. And as I say in the video elsewhere, that he doesn't want to. So anyways, back to the rest of the regularly scheduled programming. And once Buggy gives him this idea, Buggy makes his offer, like, let's work together. Crocodile's probably, okay, I'll do this and use your help, use your resources, since you don't have money to pay me back, and I'll get Mihawk to join too, to have some added muscle maybe. I'm assuming he talked to Mihawk afterward, basically. So now we get to the point where it looks like, is that Crocodile, right? So I think we're back to the present here, and the Mihawk, Crocodile's talking about how Buggy somehow has become an emperor. So now Mihawk here presents the idea, Mihawk's the one who presents the idea, let him look like he is the leader of Cross Guild, even though he obviously, like I know Tekking brought up too, like Buggy's obviously not the leader. He doesn't have the, he can bluff his way out of some stuff, but he can't really lead something like this. Crocodile's definitely that kind of brains. He has the experience. He knows how to administer and lead stuff like that. But so Mihawk here brings up the idea, let's let him look like he's the front of the company and take the heat. And so Mihawk here also brings up something interesting. Like I just said earlier, he seems like he's an emperor level threat, and that the Marines are just sending all these people after him. And he talks about how he doesn't want to look like he's the front of the company. He has no interest in being an emperor. Very interesting, because he definitely has the strength. He's the world's strongest swordsman. Definitely a title, a thing that really puts him up there with where he could probably have an easily great following of even like amateur swordsmen who want to learn from the very best that there is. And but he's just talked about wanting to live in peace. So he's never had an interest, obviously, in dealing with that kind of administrating a crew and stuff like that, leading a crew. So that's interesting that he just doesn't want that. So he's just staying in this group, I think, to take the heat off him. So he just walks away, saying, "Yeah, let him have the target of him on his back, and we can always dispose of him later." And Crocodile likes that idea. Why is my screen freezing? Okay, here we go. So now they have Buggy go up to the crew members and announce to them the facade they're creating here about how to form the Cross Guild, and these are my new executives, Crocodile and Mihawk. They're working for me now. Last now we get the third good thing. We get something else interesting now. I forgot, there was 3 things with this. I said 2. This would be in the big one. I forget. So now we switch to, we're getting some information with the Revolutionary Army. And while we have Crocodile, we see Crocodile for the first time in a bit. So him and Koala and what's his name? Oh yeah, Ivankov. Okay, Ivankov is here. There's another revolutionary members here. I see the giant whose name is don't know his name. Like Morley. So you got Marley, you got Koala. I recognize her. The Sabo is not here, so we're just gonna find some interesting little tidbits here. So this is back on the island where Ivankov had been living, where he was helping Sanji train. And so looks like they're meeting. Has Ivankov even met up with the crocodile or anyone in the last 2.5 years or so since he left Marineford? Or not Marineford, Impel Down. So Dragon here, everyone's like meeting up for, yeah, it looks like all the executives are here having dinner and they're happy to see each other again. It looks like they must have been, because last we saw them, they went to Marie Joie, right? And they saved Kuma, and we see him here. So Dragon here is real pissed because with Sabo, if you remember now, Sabo is accused not accused. They're saying he did it. There's no accusations about it from the government. They're pinning it on him that Sabo killed King Cobra of Alabasta. And Dragon here does not know whether Sabo did or not, and they don't apparently not in contact with him. And Dragon here is like, I will not forgive him if he actually did that. Maybe because it brought unnecessary heat upon them, among other things. So he's in front of Kuma here, and he asks Kuma about what did you see, and Kuma here just looks like he's still in his slave thing. He was at Marijwa for a while now, and he was being ridden around by one of those assholes of the celestial dragons, and yep. Now we're near the end here. So now we see that Denden Mushi is calling, and Koala sees it. But the Marines though are tracking the call, so they're on to where the Revolutionary Army's current position is, and these are like guys, intelligence members running the interference, and we end the chapter with Sabo being the one who's making that call to Kuma, and that's where it ends. So we still don't know what Sabo did or didn't kill Cobra, and we do have Kuma here. So hopefully we find out. I don't know what Kuma's been doing with the revolutionary. I mean, being with the. I'm trying to think if there was something else I'm missing. Like I wonder if Kuma was kind of like purposely being a slave, you could say, at the Marines Rock, so he could learn more information. To give the dragon. And now that he's out, I know Kuma has that relation to Bonnie, so I wonder if she'll be coming to find him soon. So there's just a lot here. Holy shit, a lot to unpack. So Crocodile got Mihawk to join with him, and then he came to Buggy because Buggy owed him money, and now they're forming this group this is Crocodile's idea to form a new organization. Now gonna use Buggy's status as an emperor to help take the heat off them and make it look like he's the leader while he runs things behind the scenes. And I don't see what Mihawk's input's going to be other than the fact Crocodile probably wants him for his muscle, I would say, because Crocodile's a pretty good fighter, but Mihawk is leagues above him as far as like overall strength and stuff. So I could see him wanting to have but Crocodile wanting to have Mihawk there. And then there was the bounties. So this was a great chapter. This is some of the stuff I wanted to learn about with the Cross Guild. I know there was some other stuff I mentioned in the other videos I was hoping to learn, but we didn't get any. Can't think what those are right now, but we didn't get any of that. But this was a great chapter overall. And now we're have a lot to think about until the next chapter. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.